If you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be somebody that owns his own business, that owns his own time and makes money from it, what you need to understand is you need to be humble enough to make money even when you're not making money. What the fuck does that even mean? Well, let me give you an example of where I used to be a couple years ago. So a couple of years ago, I was in a very comfortable place, living in my parents' house, not really doing anything. I was going to a private university at the time to learn some kind of 3D graphics design for movies and shit like VFX. And I was thinking to myself, I need to do something more. I need to push myself outside of this comfort zone, because I was at a point where I was basically just living off of my parents' income, and they were paying my rent, they were paying my food, and I wasn't doing anything to provide value in a financial way to the family. And so what I noticed, what was truly important, is at the time I was super egocentric. I had a massive ego, and it blinded me to focus way too much on business and like learning skills and getting better at it and becoming an entrepreneur, and instead of being humble enough to get a job so that I could support my parents while still working that business skill development process. So what I ended up doing is that first I ended up getting a job, and I think it's better to get a job than to not get a job, because I understand that if you are the kind of person that knows how valuable freedom of time is, and that you've had freedom of time over yourself for the past couple months, couple years, you understand the value in deciding whenever you're gonna do things, whatever time you're gonna do things, however you're gonna do things. But the problem is, when you do that, you're gonna get subject to entropy. When you don't have anything developed and you are at the very beginning of your process, you need to get that financial side in check. You can't just do what I did, which is basically just live off your parents' income until you start making money from your business, because the point is you need to be the kind of person that provides even when you're developing your skills. You can't be the guy leeching off of somebody else and feeling like complete and utter shit, because it's going to tear you down. You're going to be subjected to chaos and entropy in your own life in terms of energy, in terms of time spent. You're going to waste way more time by not having a job than by having a job. Because when you have a job, you're trading your time in exchange for a certain amount of value, which is money. So I would heavily recommend every single person that wants to start their own business, if you want to start a YouTube channel like I did here, if you want to become your own boss, if you want to become a freelancer, become an entrepreneur, become a business guy, all that kind of stuff, or like even open a side hustle, start a side hustle, I would heavily recommend still having a job, so that way your income is still stacking. Like, you don't want to be the guy making no money, like month 1, no money, month 2, no money, month 3, no money. Like, that is going to compound. Like, unless you've had a job over the past few years and you've saved up enough income, in that case, like for instance, let's say you have 50, 60 grand and then of savings, and then you want to spend that so that you can quit your job and you could go all in on business. I understand if you want to do that. I would not recommend it though. I would stick with the job until you make, like, one thing you could do is reduce the amount of hours that you're spending at the job. So I can send, instead of having a full-time job, if you have like 60K, 50K in savings in your account, I would recommend going to see your boss and saying, hey, I want to switch over to part-time because I want to be focusing more on my business. I'm starting, want to grow my business or something like that on the side. I've got this side project. I want to pour more time into that instead of, and I'm willing to sacrifice getting paid less to invest more time into that. And then they say, okay, and then they switch your hours. And then let's say you go to work 3-4 days a week, and all of the other days you're like fully focused on business. That would be like the perfect healthy balance. I would recommend to do that. And another thing that has helped me a lot is if you have friends that also have a side project, or also are entrepreneurs, or also want to be financially free, or that have this kind of project to build themselves into someone better in the future, what I recommend is just go flat with them. Just go do go get an apartment. If you have two people plus yourself, get a 3-bedroom apartment and split the cost. So that way, instead of paying $500 to $1,000 by yourself, you can split $400 each, and in one place. It's super easy. You can save a lot of money by sharing costs in one apartment. You can share the power, the water, the internet, the fucking rent. You can share everything, and it is very helpful. I've done it myself. I know how useful it can be to do that, to just save money so that you don't have to go work a full-time job, and you can invest more of your time into the business. So that way you have more time to go do outreach. You have more time to create content. You have more time to go run ads for yourself. You have more time to learn all of these important skills. You have more time to deliver for your clients. You have more time to all of this stuff. So I heavily recommend getting a job, even if it's a part-time job, while you're building your side project on the side. It would be better, from my point of view, to create something on the side while you're working your full-time job, unless you want to have a career as a doctor, or something super career driven, like a brain surgeon, or I don't know. I don't really know anything about that many careers, to be perfectly honest. What would be a high study field career type style? And then in that case, if you want to do that, then that's entirely up to you. That's however you want to do it. So I would heavily recommend that. Otherwise, you are going to be wasting a bunch of time. I remember when I first started learning about business and everything, I took my time for granted. For the first year or two, I remember I was playing video games left, right, and center. I was watching a bunch of videos, entertaining myself more so than learning the skills. I was maybe working 3-4 hours a day minimum or maximum. That's pretty much it. And then I was still going to the gym. I was still doing a bunch of stuff, but I wasn't the person that had their financials in check. And so I needed to push myself out of that comfort zone. I got a first job for 1 month, and then a 1-month contract. Then I got another job for a 3-month contract. Then I got a client which started paying me income, so I was all good. So I decided, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna invest all of my time in this client. I'm gonna push this client as far as I can, and we'll see how it goes. And I learned a lot of skills from that, which is thanks to this that I'm here today now. So today now I'm in a good position, although I think my biggest problem right now is client acquisition. So while I'm getting clients right now, I don't have enough clients to be satisfied with the position I'm in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be getting a job, even if it's part-time or full-time, so that way I can still stack cash while looking for said clients. So that way what I can do, the plan I have for myself, is basically stack cash with the job. With that cash, pay all of my base necessities and expenses, and then invest all of the surplus into running ads for myself, so that way I can acquire clients. In that way, as soon as I have 3, 4, 5, 6 clients, then in that case I could just leave the job and I can go all in on the client acquisition and delivery. And I might even hire somebody to help me do it, because I'll have so much work to do at that point. So that way I can keep scaling that, and then I can get a bunch of clients and start earning upwards of 5 figures a month, which is basically my first milestone that I really want to hit. So realistically, it all depends on what you want to do. What do you want to accomplish? What goals did you set for yourself? And how are you going to accomplish them? How are you going to hit those goals? And putting all of the advantages on your side so that you can actually achieve what it is you set out to achieve. Like, don't be the guy who just works on your business all day and like is super selfish. You need to cover all different areas of your life. You need to cover the financial, you need to cover the family, your like slash relationship side of things. You need to cover your physique, so you need to go to the gym, you need to exercise, you need to eat well, you need to do all these things. You need to cover all of the different areas and not ignore a few of them to focus on a single one. That was one of my biggest mistakes that I learned when I started learning business, entrepreneurship, all that kind of stuff. And it's not necessarily something I'm proud to talk about, but I don't really care because it's a lesson that I've learned and that has built me into the person I am today. So I regret nothing. I regret nothing because without those lessons, I wouldn't be where I am today. And where I am today is much better than where I used to be. So there you have it. And we're not done, like we're not done. Like the work is never done. There's so much more to do. There's so much more to get done. So the point is, I recommend everybody, if you don't have a job, to just go get one. Go get one, because that way, number one, you learn some things. Like if you get a sales job, if you get any kind of job, honestly, that requires a minimal amount of brain energy, I recommend going to get a job, because it's always going to increase your inner drive as well. If you don't like working that job and it's tiring and it's pissing you off and you feel like slaving away and all this kind of stuff, it's going to increase your inner drive to make your business work harder, to make your business more successful, so that you can actually live off of your business's income and not your fucking job's income, if you know what I mean. So like the point is to put yourself in a position where you feel like you need to escape and your mind needs to push itself to the brink of being tired or being pissed off or being like drowning in tasks. Like it's like you wake up, you do X, Y, and Z tasks on the business, you take a shower, you eat food, you go to the job, then you finish your job, you go straight back home then you go to the gym, then you go back home, you eat some more food, then you start working more in the business, and then you go to sleep, and then you do it all over again. And then it leaves very little time to fucking to mess around, because you've already got all of these obligations in your day-to-day things that you need to do. And so it makes perfect sense that you'd get a job, so that way you can start stacking cash, and then you can use that cash to push yourself out of the hole. Because if you're in the hole and you have no cash and you have nothing to invest, the only thing you have to invest is your time and energy. So the most important thing that matters is understanding how to use it as efficiently as possible. Because if you don't use it efficiently, you're just gonna stay in the hole. That's the biggest problem that I basically had for the past 2 years. And now that I'm on year 4, I've had a lot of important lessons, and now that I'm just pushing as fast as I can, as hard as I can, and it seems that it's not going fast enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a job like everybody else. It's not that hard. Just go out there, ask, hey, are you hiring? Hey, I noticed you had this announcement online. Is it still open? Oh, hey, I'd never worked a job in I don't fucking know, hotel before, but I'm willing to learn and I can adapt extremely fast. Would you guys be open to training me just so that I can replace a position that you guys might be missing, or that you guys would be willing to offer me? And then it's, oh yeah, okay, and the more you do this, the more you're going to practice your own communication skills as well, because I personally found that it works much better to go in person, to show up to the business. Just, if you want, you can print out a bunch of CVs, but if you can find a job that you really would be interested in, like for instance, I applied recently to most of the jobs that I applied for were just things that I was really, really interested in. Like, for instance, working in a 5-star hotel, seeing how that works, working in a suit store, working in a luxury clothing store, working in a big, like, higher end brand type of gig. And seems that I may have landed something today, so we'll see how that goes. But it helps to apply for things that you would want to test, that you would want to apply for because you're interested. It's going to help you apply for those jobs because you're going to be the kind of person, like, if you're the kind of person like me who fucking hates the idea of a job just for a job's sake, and when you go apply to something, you just half-ass it because it's pissing you off because it's shit. Well, if you actually took the time to analyze where you would want to apply for a job at, then you can identify every single place that you would be actually kind of interested in seeing how it works, like a 5-star restaurant or a 5-star hotel or a luxury store or a what else, like a suit clothing store, like luxury retail, all that kind of stuff that actually feels more premium is very interesting to see how it works. I mean, that's my personal thing. Like, I don't know what would be the massive difference for you guys, but like, what would you guys go for instance? I'm not really sure, but that's entirely up to you. I personally have a very high amount of virtue and standard when it comes to myself and how I present myself. So whenever I decide to work with someone, I want that person to be like something that I can be proud of and that I can represent, and I can be like, hey, I actually don't work for some fucking shit ass corporation. I actually work for these guys who make like custom tailored suits, and it's fucking nice, bro. Who knows? You might get some really good contacts. You might get a good network going. If you want to open your business in the future, you can always start there. Like, I remember a couple of people that I was talking to in my network. They were telling me like, hey, notice you were an entrepreneur as well. How's that going? And I started having a chat with them. And then they told me like, oh yeah, I started being a banker for like 15 years. And so I developed this massive network of people. And from that network, I reached out to a bunch of people that I knew, and I said, hey, I'm doing this. Would you like me to do it for free for you? I just want a testimonial and experience. And then they said, okay. They bought a couple of those, and now they're charging money for it. And then it's going really, really well. So if you target a specific industry, you can also mold that environment into something of an advantage that you can use in the future. Very useful. So, like, for instance, I personally had a lot of struggles when it came to reaching out to clients and getting clients for my business. And so I had to do everything manually. I had to do everything myself. I had to go out there, talk to people. I had to hit people up online and say, hey, da da da. And I have been doing that for the past fucking 4 years. So the results have been okay, but have not been spectacular, and that's simply because of the fact that my network is starting from zero. That is one of the biggest issues that I've noticed when people are starting out. If you know, like, people in your family, people in your friend group, and you that have like really good connections, I would heavily recommend hitting them up and saying, hey, I've been starting doing this. I think it's really the path forward for me. And would you happen to know anybody that would be interested in these kinds of services? And then go from there. So you're able to develop your network extremely easy if you overcome the feeling of shame and guilt and whatever the fuck that you think, oh, people are gonna judge me because I've started this. Like, who gives a shit, bro? Like, nobody cares. Like, people care more about themselves than they care about you. Like, they don't care about you. So what you need to understand is getting a job is not just getting a job. Getting a job is a stepping stone to allow you to move faster into your own future that you're building. It is a necessary step, if you will. But if you have the network, if you have the connections, if you have all of these things already in check, then I would heavily suggest just using that as much as possible to your advantage and pushing as fast and as efficiently as possible, getting as much feedback as you can, working as hard as you can, using your time as most efficiently as you can in order to get that done faster so that you can boost your income, so that you can provide and protect for the people you fucking love, bro. At the end of the day, that is what matters the most. Being able to be providing value to the people that you love in any shape, any way, shape, or form. Most importantly, in today's society, in today's world, it would most likely be in a financial way. That's how the world works for now. So I always say it's better to use the cards that you have right now at your advantage rather than be subject to what happens. So what I mean by this is take note of everything you have and take note of everybody you know, and you'll understand what you can and cannot do. And from there, you'll understand what you need to do and what you need to explore more, and you need to develop, and you need to get better at, and you need to do all of these things. And then you'll come up with a list of things that you can get better at. And then you'll explore those things, and you'll get better at them, and you'll develop your skills, and then you'll become a skilled, capable, valuable individual. And then everybody will come to you and say, hey, please help me. Same thing, bro. Like, it's the same thing. Like whenever you're reaching out to people and you're saying, hey, do you know anybody that could be doing this? Imagine if somebody came to you asking that, and you said, actually, I could make use of your services. And from there, you could be the guy helping people out instead of being the guy selling to people. Well, it's kind of the same thing when you actually think about it, but you could be the person offering out your hand to help people instead of being like, hey, do you want me to help you? You could be like, hey, if you need help, I'm here. And then people come to you. That's an amazing feeling. So yeah, I do heavily recommend, if you haven't already, to get a job. Go get your income up, go get your money up, so that way you can actually get things done. May it be a fucking boring job, who cares, bro? Just do it with 100% all in energy. When you're at the job, you're at the job. You're doing the job 110%. You're doing the job as efficiently and as well as possible so that people match your energy and you meet people and everybody's like, I always am a portrayer of doing things 110%. So doing things just a bit more. And that energy that you transfer into what you're doing is always going to come back to you. Is always going to come back to you. And if you do it out of the wholeheartedness, bottom of your heart, as a selfless individual, you'll understand that people care way more about you when you do that. People want to surround yourself with you all the time, because like it's the same thing with men or women in relationships, in friendships, whatever the fuck you want to do. If you always bring 110% energy to the table and you always have a good time being yourself, people will surround you, like will want to hang around you because they're like, oh, this guy's awesome, because he feels the best being himself, so I want to be around him. And women are going to do the same thing. Like if you're in a relationship, and this is what women look for. They don't necessarily say it, but this is what they look for. They look for somebody who is so good being themselves that they don't really care about hanging around other people. They're so okay and in love with themselves that if other people join, that's just bonus. That's not the whole point. And so they love being with somebody that kind of likes who they are, like who they are, but they love when somebody loves themselves first and foremost and doesn't really care about giving anything up. So like for instance, let's say you have somebody who's really pretty and you're like, they're kind of pretty, but I'm not really interested. And you treat them like a friend. You don't treat them like somebody special. You don't treat them like their looks matter more than they actually matter. You don't actually give them that much attention compared to other friends. They're gonna feel that change, and they're gonna be like, what? Doesn't he feel like I'm attractive? Doesn't he think I'm a girl? Doesn't he think I'm a woman worth talking to and giving attention to? Because women love attention. So it's the currency. It's the fucking, you drink water, like women get attention. That's women's like women's water is attention. Like it's like a currency. And so if you can be the kind of guy who doesn't give a fuck about anybody around you, and who only loves himself in the moment, in the present moment, everybody will gravitate towards you, and everybody will see it and feel it. And you'll become the guy who magnetically attracts people. It's a really good feeling. I'd heavily recommend loving yourself for who you are rather than hating yourself because of the person you aren't. Like, I would hate to be someone I'm not. Like, whenever I'm around other people, I am myself. I do not care if they think worse of me. I do not care if they think better of me. I am myself, and if you love that, good. If you hate that, don't care. So the best definition would be to be unapologetically yourself. And so when you're at these jobs or in a social development circle or any kind of social circle, you'll understand that being 110% yourself, 200% yourself is a massive advantage you can have. Because it doesn't fucking matter what happens. At the end of the day, you react to what happens to you. You are in control of how you react to things. So if you react, like if you say, oh, you're pissing me off, who gives a shit, bro? Like if somebody's like a good, if you guys are into movies or TV shows or that kind of stuff, I recommend watching, what the fuck is it called? I think it's called Reacher. And in this show, it's basically like some kind of big, strong guy played by, what's his name? I don't remember the actor's name, but he plays a character called Jack Reacher. And so he's really fucking funny. It's not a comedy, but basically it's this military guy who's super big, strong, and he always just doesn't really give a shit about anyone's fucking anything. He's just himself. It's like whenever somebody fucks around and he goes and the other guy says, oh, sorry man, sorry. That's what I mean, bro. Like, you can see all of these representations in movies and cinemas of characters that embody that kind of unapologetically themselves characters. And it's very good to see that example because it allows you to be more like that. Not more like the character, but more like the traits they embody. And that allows you to then transition that into your own life, to be more yourself. If you like fucking playing video games, who cares? If you like watching anime, like fucking go ahead, bro. I don't give a fuck. Like, if you like watching movies, like I don't care. Like, if you like collecting toy cars or fucking plushies, I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, you do you. Like, I don't care. Whatever. Like, I've got more of my stuff to do. Like, I don't care about your stuff. Like, I'm me, you're you. Like, go away, go over there. Don't care. So yeah, get a job. If you have too much time on your hands and you want to do stuff, get a fucking job. Like, do something. Get more productive. Be more productive. Get a fucking 7 day weekly job. 7 days a week job. It's pretty fucking intense, but it's good for you. So, and you'll get more money out of it anyway. good for you. So be more busy, do more things, and then you'll see you'll become more productive because you're getting busier. That's what I'm talking about. So I appreciate every single one of you guys watching on the video. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Happy to have a conversation in the chat, in the comments. If you have any questions, if you want some advice, if you want to be more productive with your schedule, if you have lower energy and you want higher energy, if you want to get stronger in the gym, if you want to become more physically attractive, if you want to take care of your routine a bit more, if you want to become more disciplined, feel free to reach out and ask me any questions you want. Happy to help. With that said, it's time to get back to work. It's a beautiful day. It's a great day to be alive. So go out there, get things done. And with that said, I post every single day. So I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great time.